Hi everyone, Jeb here with Earth and Turf. Today I've got the 320H, which stands for hydraulic, and a really unique setup that I'd like to show to you that'll help you understand how this may work for your vineyards or row spreading or other unique applications where you'd want to spread material to the side. This one here is set up with what we call a single axle setup or a wide turf tire. So you'll notice that on our 320V we have two tires on this side and two on the other side that are then tucked in under the spreader. That gives you a narrow footprint for tight areas. This is going to be a wide tire that we put on here, which would be better for soft ground or places where you need stability so that it doesn't either sink into the ground. It has a wider footprint for grass or soft areas. It's also easier on the compaction of the roots beneath. Because the weight is distributed across the wide tire, you'll have less pressure from a narrow tire. Lastly, it's helpful because these wide tires provide more stability if you're on hillsides or tight areas where you may want a more stable spreader to keep it from flipping. To account for this wide tire, we've gone with our side conveyor option with a 40-inch width. We offer the side conveyor in a 30-inch and 40-inch width, which basically means that the side conveyor on the standard would stop here. This one is extended so that it can reach past the tire. In other words, when you're spreading, you want to be sure that as you're driving down the row, this material coming off the belt is reaching whatever you'd like to spread into, getting on the base of the plants or reaching in under bushes or whatever it might be. This side conveyor is very specifically designed for wide tires where you need to reach past the tire itself while driving down the row. As you look at this spreader, we've got here two hydraulic connections for the motor that runs the side conveyor. These connections are actually quick attach, which means that you can push back on the sleeve and pop the fitting out like so. This allows you to swap the side conveyor for another attachment, specifically our beater attachment. The beater would mount with the same bolt pattern and same hoses and expel material right behind you. That's going to allow you to do two different things with the same machine. This machine, set up in this configuration, will spread to the side underneath bushes for rows. Swapping the side conveyor for the rear beater is going to give you a top dressing application down the center of your row or in an open area where you want to expel material directly behind you. If you order the spreader with the beater option itself, it'll likely come inside of the hopper like this. You can see that there's not much to the beater other than a lot of steel, the brackets right on each side that will mount it, and then the hydraulic motor and disconnects on the motor itself. You will use the same bolts from one attachment to the other when swapping. I'm going to go over a couple of specifics with this spreader and the other hydraulic spreaders that'll help you understand what you need to run the spreader and your hookup connections, as well as how to operate the controls at the back end of the spreader itself. First thing you're going to do is come in here. These hoses we recommend to be tied up or specifically kept in a neat fashion so that you don't get dirt in the ends or you don't run over them, whatever it might be that would take care of them. From there, you'll take the two ends of the spreader hoses and plug them into your pulling vehicle. With this one, we have a diesel tractor with rear-facing hydraulic ports. You want to make sure that those ports are clean as possible. Plug it in like so. One and then the other. And once they're plugged in, make sure they're secure. On this tractor, it doesn't matter which port goes into which. It only matters that they both are secure, and then I'll keep track of which way is which with the control of the tractor itself. For a spreader like this, we do recommend that you have at least 5 to 8 gallons per minute. That's going to determine how much flow is coming from the pulling vehicle through the spreader itself. It's important that you have that flow to make sure that the belts and motors operate at full efficiency. It's also important to know that that hydraulic flow needs to be continuous. So if you have a one-way system, like for lifting or dropping an attachment, that wouldn't work. This needs to be a continuous loop that's going to go all the way through the spreader and back into the machine. On this machine, I'm going to fire up the tractor. come in right here to our rear hydraulic control. This is a kit that was installed for this Kubota tractor specifically. You may have different looking levers, and some of them only move one direction. If it only moves one direction, you'll need to make sure that your ports are hooked up correctly to make sure that the belt spreads in the proper direction. Otherwise, you'll need to reverse those hoses. If you'd want to run it off of the loader valve in the front of the tractor right here, you'd want to make sure that you plug both hoses into the same loop, and that you then remember which direction you need to move the lever to operate that continuous flow. In this case, we have proper ports installed for this exact purpose. So when engaging this machine, I'll leave the main belt off and the side conveyor on so that you can see how the conveyor belt moves. Right here, it's moving in the expelling direction. You can see when I stop the lever, the belt stops. And for more speed, I can run the RPMs of the tractor higher. This spreader is designed to go behind a tractor of this size or larger. If you have something larger, that's perfectly fine. You just want to make sure that your controls are set up well and that you have a safe way to secure the spreader to the tractor itself. One more thing to consider when you're looking at this setup as opposed to our 320V or 320H like this with the narrow tire. The side conveyor is set up to reach past this turf tire, but it does mean that it sticks out the side of the machine about a foot. So you'll have to keep that in mind for when you're going down your rows and planning your spacing to make sure that you have room for that foot sticking out there. From there, you'll also notice that this machine is about 60 inches from one side of the outside of the tire to the other outside of the tire. What that means is you'll need to be sure that not only does the conveyor belt on the back accommodate your rows, but also that you have the overall width for these tires to go through. Like I said before, this is an ideal setup for the compaction aspect, for the stability aspect, and more, but you've got to make sure that you have enough width to fit this down your rows. Keep in mind that we have other setups depending on what you have to pull or what you're spreading or what your row widths are. We'd be happy to talk to you about what would be best for your farm or your vineyard or whatever your unique application is. Feel free to reach out to us on our website or check out the other spreaders for more information online. Thanks very much and have a great day.